Hello everyone, I am very incredibly sorry for being late. It's not like me. However, I had some personal endeavours to get to, which overran a tad bit, but we are about 7 minutes into qualifying here at Spain. It is X3 tonight, of course, at Spain. And let's try to get our bearings on what has happened so far. So we have 10 minutes and 50 seconds left of qualifying, and currently Dark Fade has the fastest lap, not by a lot though. Adami the AlphaTauri is just behind with a 1:11.497, the fastest lap so far, 1:11.469. We've got 10 drivers who have set laps, although it looks like Pablo's lap was just an out lap that wasn't invalidated. So we've got 10 drivers who have set laps, and if we put on our track map so we can see who's in, who's out of the pits, all of this good stuff as well, then we can get a little bit of a grasp of what is going on. Once again, I do apologize for being late. Let's see if we can spot one of the Ferraris if they're on a hot lap. No, looks like they're just cooling down out of turn 3. Here we are then, James in the Mercedes, heading down the second DRS zone of the lap into what used to be a very heavy braking zone, but of course they changed the track to make it a little more boring. And is heading round Sector 3. Normally here we'd have a chicane, but that has also been removed. Honestly, one of the worst corners in the game, but flat out around the final 2 corners. And that is third fastest for James, 1:11.579. Very strong lap from him there, which puts him into third, splitting up the AlphaTauris. EXA Rowley is here tonight. Of course, our league owner likes to reserve wherever and whenever he can. Seems like he's on a hot lap. He's just got 2 corners to go, get it turned in, flat out almost. Oh, and he's going into the pits. Not happy with what he has done there. Rushing into the pits, I must say. So we've got 2 people who haven't set a lap yet. Bull Diver and Charlie. Williams and Alpine down at the bottom. 17 drivers tonight as well. Well, 17 in quali. I'm not sure if we have any quali bans. But we will sure as hell find out. Both Ferraris sitting down in 11th and 12th, Fresh being one of them, who is actually a race winner here at EXA. During, I believe, the second round, which was in Spa. So let's see if we can catch any other drivers on a hot lap. Spartans is invalidated. Crazy. That's not crazy. Why is it showing me? Oh, that is a McLaren. It's just completely dark in there, so it looks like a Mercedes for some reason. So everyone is actually heading into the pits right now to put on their another set of tyres, as Charlie does set a lap and goes fastest by 2/10. Very strong performance there from him. So his first run in qualifying today has resulted in the fastest lap, a 1:11.2. Very strong performance. Let's see, Mr. Bean here doesn't have too much ERS, so I'm going to presume he's just rushing into the pits. As we're probably going to see the people who are out right now head into the pits. We're actually not. We're seeing Nick in the Ferrari start a flying lap. Here we go. Down a very long straight here. Straight into turn 1. Can use a lot of track on that outside to make the track as wide as possible to carry as much speed through those first 2 corners, and then this very long turn 3 all the way up. Use all of the track there. He's not quite doing so. You can get more of the curb, more of the track on that curb, more of the car on that curb, should I say. And now we're heading round into the second sector we're in currently. Got a DRS detection point up the top of this hill, and it's DRS down the hill, flat right-hander. You get this wrong, you can go very wide, and it can go very wrong, but here we go. down the downhill, down the hill, into that heavy braking zone. Was a favourite opportunity in previous years, but they changed the track. Oh, that was almost track limits, but thankfully the curbs are rather forgiving here at Spain as he heads round the final 2 corners. Downshift, but on the throttle around the final corner. Open DRS, and across the line, no improvement, it seems, for Nick. Currently sitting in 11th. Comfortably sitting in 11th. So let's have a look if we can spot any other drivers. Pablo goes 5th fastest, right behind his teammate James, who has been knocked down from 3rd into 4th. So we've got drivers leaving the pits again. Couple of drivers. But most of them still in the pit lane, going to wait until final few minutes of quali. And then go on their final laps and final runs of qualification. Then we will get into the very exciting race here at Spain. One moment, please, while I tab out. Hello, Chaz, in the chat. Sorry, I haven't read that. Just had the chat covered. How are you, Chaz? I am late. That looked like track limits there from the Alpine, but I'm going to presume they're heading into the pits. Yep. Okay, so we've got a McLaren out on the track as well, on an out lap. Most people still in the pits. We're going to see them leave probably in about a minute or two's time. And let's see if we can spot this Mercedes of Pablo. Are they... No, they're going to be heading into the pits, invalidating there. Maybe on the final corner. And we've got Hey Tony as well in the Red Bull. Some decent performances of him so far this season. Speaking of decent performances, Charlie has been very fast in quali. The Japanese Grand Prix a few weeks back looked like theirs to win. Quite a few safety cars, and they looked like they were on top of it until they fell down the order with a rather unfortunate crash. And it didn't end well for them. That was actually... That race was one of Alexis's best performances so far this season. They almost won it, but didn't quite get the drag race to the line. Came second in that race. Currently sitting in 11th right now in the McLaren. Let's see if we can spot any drivers on a hot lap. That is a disqualification. But I'm going to presume... Yeah, I'm just looking in the X3 chat. That is because someone is driving here tonight, but they haven't done the attendance, which means that they are getting a quali ban. If you don't do the attendance, usually that means you're not allowed to drive. People who are driving, though, crazy. Just warming up the tyres there, braking and accelerating at the same time around Sector 2. See if we can spot anyone on a hot lap here. Doesn't like Tony is... Fresh. Not on a hot lap either. And I think we're about to see Tony start a hot lap now. Still slow down the straights. A couple of people starting to leave the pits again. Fresh going into the pits. How long of quali have we got left? I would like to know, but there's the yellow flags. 2 minutes left of quali. So people are going to start leaving the pit lane. You can see on the minimap, everyone flowing out now of the pits. There we go. 3 cars leaving now. The Williams and 2 others. Williams going for a bit of an adventure. Just checking that that gravel is still there. And quite a bit of traffic in turn 1. A lot of traffic in turn 1. And hopefully that hasn't obscured Crazy, because... If you looked on the minimap, he was flying through that traffic on a hot lap, but it looks like everyone got out of the way in turn 2 and 3 as there goes the Aston Martin letting him out the way. A little bit of a lock up there around turn 7. But now the climb up the hill towards the flat right-hander, and then it's straight downhill with DRS wide open, flat out. Use all of that track. Try not to understeer the car into the gravel braking zone, and then it's back up the hill again for Sector 3. Oh, and that is a spin up the hill in Sector 3 from Crazy. Very easy to get a bit trigger happy with the throttle there, and that is the mistake we saw as their teammate just passes them on the outlap. And that's going to have cooked the tyres. Crazy isn't going to have a lot of ERS left to do another flying lap. In fact, they've only got 40 seconds, but doesn't look like they're going to... Oh, they are going to go for it. So we're going to see Crazy go for another hot lap. Something to look out for. Another thing to look out for here is EXE Rowley heading round turn 3 here in the AlphaTauri, currently sitting in 7th. And we'll see if he can improve on that. He's a 10th up, and he's into the wall. That's another spin we've seen. It looks like there's a second spin on that corner. There's a Red Bull there sideways. But Rowley, 10th up in Sector 1, goes spinning out of turn 4. We're currently looking at Alexis down in 11th, as Rowley won't get another chance for qualifying as the checkered flag has fallen, and Alexis heading down the second DRS zone into the braking zone and into Sector 3. Let's see. Are they going to handle this corner better than their teammate? They have. They've got round. So far, Charlie on pole position, just to remind you. And that's an invalidation from Alexis. Qualifying, absolute disaster for the McLarens and a disaster for pretty much everyone else. As Alexis invalidates their time going wide on, I think, what was the third to last corner. So that's going to be the checkered flag for Alexis. Let's see if we can spot anyone else. Hey, Tony, invalidated as well. Just taking a little bit of an adventure here. As who is... we got anyone else on a hot lap? No. Pablo, invalidated. Tony, eating the grass. Mr. Bean, checkered flag. Crazy, off the track. I think that is a chaotic end to qualifying. Pressure got to some of our drivers a little bit there with spinning out and track limits. But that means that Charlie, on pole again, once again. On pole today, once again, for Alpine. Here at Spain with a 1:21.215. Closely followed up by Adami in the AlphaTauri. And it's Dark Fade. James brings up 4th place with his teammate Pablo. Close behind, bringing up the top 5. And we're about to get the rest of the order once we get done with this animation. There we go. So, from 5th onwards, so it's 2 Mercedes, 4-5. Then it's Daniel, Charlie's teammate, in 6th. Rowley in 7th. Crazy in 8th. Spartans in 9th. Tony in 10th. Alexis 11th. Nick 12th. Bulldiver 13th. Fresh 14th. Mr. Bean 15th. Toby 16th. And Bushy in the Haas 17th for being disqualified of quali for not doing the attendance in the Discord. So Spain, notably a track that's relatively hard on the tyres, but also not amazing for overtaking as well, historically. With both DRS zones going straight into corners where there isn't a very, very heavy braking zone for you to be able to send it down the inside. So it'll be interesting to see what our X3 drivers do when it comes to being creative and overtaking outside of these DRS zones, if that's possible. Rowley just saying there in the stream chat that his pedals have been messing with him. I'm telling you, man, you got to clean them. Clean them out. Get the gunk out. It's funny. F1 has problems with my throttle, but no other game does. So maybe it's EA Sports. But also I have problems with my throttle in that even if I press it all the way down, I'm still slow around an entire lap. Once again, skill issue. Okay. So everyone is just loading in before we get onto this exciting Grand Prix here at Spain. the whole second part of this race, is thunderstorms and heavy rain. Well, the skies look rather clear as the lights go out and Charlie gets a decent start, but Adamy is right behind them as the two Mercedes fall into formation. Adamy's going to have a look towards the inside, covered off by Charlie as they all flood through turn 1 and 2 and all the way around turn 3, where famously Fernando Alonso in 2012 got a double overtake here. But as they head towards turn 4, Adamy very close on the rear, and we've got a yellow flag. We've got the AlphaTauri of Toby and the Ferrari of Nick out at the exit of turn 3. Adamy still super, super close to Charlie, getting that dirty air around this first sector. But are they going to be able to make a move as we head up the hill towards the DRS zone, which will be enabled when we start lap 3? There are your possible tyre strategies. So it's either soft medium or soft hard as everyone heading down. And that's a wiggle in the back from both McLarens. Did you see that? On the edge of the curb, just absolutely flying. Almost a disaster for the McLarens as we're seeing a couple of position changes, but we're currently looking at our leader who is just about holding everyone off as they head round the final corner now and are ready to start lap 2 leading. Now let's have a look. It looks like Hey Tony there had a bit of an incident. They dropped quite a few places and are now at the back of this pack, while Ferrari and AlphaTauri had a little tussle in turn 3 and have a lot of ground to make up. Let's have a look at the leaders once again. Our top 3 all separated by 0.6 of a second as they head round to the end of Sector 1. It's Alpine, AlphaTauri, and Haas. Some 3 cars that you don't expect to be leading a Grand Prix in real life, but here at EXA, anything can happen. Of course, with our equal performance, it's all about the drivers. And that is the Alfa Romeo just pitting there. Clearly had some front wing damage and has a lot of ground to make up. Let's have a look further down the pack. Pablo, 0.7 seconds away from his teammate James. They qualified right behind each other. Well, next to each other on the grid. And it looks like James got a little bit more pace than his teammate in these first few opening laps. Saying that, he is very close to our top 3, only 0.2 between himself and Darkfade. Charlie starting to pull away just a tad, if you can see, sets the fastest lap, and the gap now 0.6 seconds to that AlphaTauri. Let's have a look at James. Still not close enough to launch an attack on Darkfade, but DRS is enabled this lap, which is going to give them 2 chances down the 2 straights we have to open that rear wing and try to get ahead and make an overtake on the driver in front if you're within that all-important 1 second gap. So let's see, more towards the midfield as everyone's sort of slotting through nicely, everyone keeping up with each other, and we're going to see a big DRS train as Bushy gets dive bombed down the inside by Mr. Bean, who forces Bushy off the track, and that allows Spartans to just take advantage, and Fresh to take advantage of that, I'd say, rather aggressive attacking from Mr. Bean. It looked like he shoved their opponent off the track there a little bit, but here we go. DRS enabled. Let's see if we can see any action at the front. Looks like we just missed it. But there was no position change as Charlie 0.5 seconds, 0.6 seconds ahead now. 0.7 seconds ahead almost as we head into lap 4 and down the main straight we go. DRS train. Absolutely enormous DRS train from 1st to 15th. Everybody is going to close down the gap on each other. Mr. Bean here currently sitting in last of the pack as the Ferrari and the Alfa Romeo sort of just happily gliding around the track themselves. There's a yellow flag there. Why is there a yellow flag? It's Daniel. Was the contact? Was it a spin? Can I please have a look at his damage? There is no damage. Must have been a spin. Rumor has it there's going to be heavy rain and lightning towards the end of this race. I've seen a screenshot by our pole sitter and our current race leader in the Discord, Charlie, on their tyre strategies. It looks like there's going to be cloud, rain, and thunder here today, but the skies are looking pretty clear, so maybe it's going to be a interesting turn of events towards the end of the race. The two McLarens sitting in 8th and 9th, very close to each other, closely followed by Pool Diver. So EXA Rowley and Pablo unable to keep up with the top 4 now. Both of those gaps respectively 1 second ahead, and Alexis gets a track limits penalty of 3 seconds as EXA Rowley, under heavy pressure from both McLarens, gets passed by both McLarens under DRS, and now has just got to stick with them and overtake them on the next lap. Conserve those tyres as well for when you really need to defend. Conserve the ERS when you really need to defend. My apologies also when it comes to seeing how much ERS people have got. We'll turn on the telemetries. As up ahead, James incredibly close to our top 3, getting within 0.1 of a second just about for a moment. And it looks like they're just biding their time. They're on the harder tyres, if we take a look at the tyres as well, by the way, which we haven't done. So we've got most people on mediums or hards, with Dark Fate running the soft tyre, and it's not quite working for him. He's got someone on a hard tyre in front of him, and he really wants to make the most of those soft tyres, I feel like, in this first stint. And James is keeping up with him terrifically on what is arguably a much slower compound. So they head round the final corner. James is going to have DRS. Dark Fade's going to have DRS. But James has a lot of ERS to attack. Does Dark Fade have any ERS? They've barely got any left, and they're just trying to use the last of it to keep James at bay as they all head into turn 1 now. And both McLarens fighting with the Williams. Pool Diver goes down the inside of Crazy into turn 1. Lovely move there. And EXA Rowley has got the best seat in the house for this fight here. Or are they going to be a part of this fight heading round turn 4? And I think that's turn 5. I'm not too sure. But here we go. Into the second sector. Rowley been reporting pedal issues. Whether that's brake or throttle, not sure. But both are just as detrimental, of course. And DRS once again down the hill. It's all about the exit of that flat right-hander, which stops becoming flat out very soon once the tyres degrade just that little bit. So this pack of 6th to 9th is currently led by Alexis with a 3-second time penalty. So there's a lot of ground to make up if they want to retain their position here. And quite a bit of a DRS train as well. But is Alexis going to come under heavy pressure here from Pool Diver? They don't have DRS, but Pool Diver doesn't have any ERS to launch a full-scale attack, shall we call it, into turn 1. As they're right on the limiter into turn 3. And Pablo, let's have a look here. Pablo is just... he's separated from everyone. He's got about a second in front of him and a second behind him. So he's sort of just sitting comfortably here. He's got the top 4 in front of him. And he's got 3, 4 cars right behind him as well. Actually, he's got the rest of the pack right behind him. So our top 4, showing quite a bit of pace. Dark Fade hasn't managed to make those soft tyres work as well as he would have wanted. Maybe to get a jump on the lead. And is now starting to fall away from our top 3. And Charlie might come under pressure here from Adamy as we head down the main straight. Adam has a lot of ERS, but is choosing not to go for full scale. Never mind, I take it back. He goes down the inside, gets ahead just before turn 1, but he's gone a little bit deep, and that's causing Charlie to be able to go down the inside into turn 3. So it's all about who's got the better run out of turn 3, and it looks like Charlie's managed to regain the position, but only just about. As a yellow flag in sector 1 at turn 1, and Charlie, while it looked like they had that attack, well, it looked like they didn't have that defended down the main straight, they managed to pull essentially a switchback into turn 2 and drive round the inside and force Adamy away round turn 3. Absolutely lovely stuff from Charlie, showing a lot of pace this season so far and a lot of talent. But Adamy, with ERS and DRS now, surely on the main straight isn't going to make the same mistake and just blast all that ERS to get right ahead as Daniel in the AlphaTauri retires, and that is a full safety car. As, yep, Charlie's going to retake that position. Look like Adamy slowed down just a bit later than Charlie. Hang on. Who's in the lead now? I feel like it should have been Charlie in the lead there. But they both pit anyway. And there's a bit of a tussle. There's a bit of a tussle here at the on the yellow flag in the pit lane. But it looks like Charlie was just letting by. No, sorry, Adamy was just letting by Charlie because I don't think those yellow flags worked exactly perfectly. But here we go. We've got a lot of drivers pitting here. Only 2 people deciding not to pit. Mr. Bean and Hey Tony on the hard tyres out in front. So we've got a couple of people on the softs. A couple of people on the mediums. All of those hard tyre runners are going to be moving on to the medium tyres here. So are we going to see another pit stop? Maybe, because the rumour has it it's going to rain later in this race. But if we look at the sky, it looks relatively clear. So our previous race leader on the soft tyres, down in 4th right now. 3 people haven't pitted, Mr. Bean, Hey Tony and Spartans. In position 1, 2 and 3. 2 hard tyre runners and a medium, so they're going to get overtaken rather quickly, I'm going to presume. Especially Charlie was going to have a huge tyre advantage from new softs to old mediums and old hards is quite the difference. So we're going to have to wait for Nick and Toby, who fell behind at turn 3 on the first lap. We'll wait for them to rejoin the back of this pack, and then we'll be good to go. Why is James falling all the way down the order here? They're in the barriers in the safety car. They are almost straight into the barriers under safety car. Not sure what happened there. In the name of Nicholas Latifi. Very interesting. Anyhow, let's have a look. Everyone is pitted here, apart from our top 3. That we can confirm. The XA Rowley hasn't had the strongest start to this race so far. Currently down in 12th. While saying that, neither is James or Pablo, the 2 Mercedes. James, I'm just looking in the Discord, not very happy. About our 2 previous race leaders, about what happened when the safety car came out. But I think they were just sort of communicating about the yellow flag sort of by figuring out what was going on. Yep. Just getting info from Adamy now. Gave the position back to Charlie, which is what we saw in the pit lane. Because he accidentally overtook as the safety car came through. Charlie slowed down a lot quicker than Adamy, which... So, yeah. But apparently that caused a bit of carnage fall behind with a brake check, essentially. So that's fair enough. Maybe that's why we've seen some position drops, because people might have needed front wings. I doubt it. But here we go. Safety car is going to be in this lap. Hey Tony, currently leading the race in the Red Bull on the hard tyres. So how long are these top 3 going to be able to hold off before they have to make another pit stop again? I presume we're going to see another pit stop again this race because, well, we've got another 23 laps to go. Once we start here, once we restart here in Spain, Hey Tony releases the taps with Mr. Bean and Spartans closely followed behind down the main straight towards turn 1. But the real battle here is between Adamy and Charlie, who have pitted. So as everyone rounds turn 1, it looks like on the minimap, everyone got out of there alive and is into turn 3. as our leaders are coming towards the second sector. Here they go. And that's Charlie going down the inside of Spartans, almost getting it done. Not quite. Mr. Bean's pretty slow, but we saw Charlie on the safety car restart with newer tyres down in Suzuka get a little bit too aggressive. Are they going to make the same mistake again today at Spain and just get too aggressive, not be patient, try to just absolutely beat the people on fresher tyres? And it looks like they're doing that so far. They've gotten past Spartans and into Sector 3. And round the inside past Mr. Bean as well. Mr. Bean's going to have a look down the inside again, but just doesn't have the grip on Charlie, who just breezes past into second place. Well, I was questioning whether they'd just get overly aggressive on the restart, like we saw in Suzuka as they got very wide. Wow. But it looks like they've executed that pretty well so far, as Bushy, who is currently down in 10th, sets the fastest lap of the race at 1:14.6. Charlie pressuring Hey Tony, who's leading this race, but not for long. Charlie maybe going to look to go down the inside here at the exit of turn 3. The ERS enable as they head towards turn 4. Charlie's going to have more grip. Hey Tony's got the outside line, but it's not enough. And Charlie regains the lead within one lap and one sector of the safety car restart. From 4th all the way up to 1st. Charlie just has incredible pace. So they are going to fly off into the distance. Look at that, already a 1 second gap between Adamy, who has managed to make his way up into second. So our original top 3 is back. Pool Diver, Adamy and Charlie, 3, 2 and 1. They managed to make their way up very quickly. And Adamy on the medium tyres as opposed to Pool Diver and Charlie, who decided to opt for the softs. And I was saying about how the track looked pretty sunny. It's getting grayer. Charlie sets the fastest lap, despite overtaking one car. DRS enabled. And the sky is looking grayer. So maybe this weather radar that I've been talking about previously, maybe this heavy rain is going to come into effect soon, because it doesn't look like it's just going to be some drizzles in the intermediate tires. On the weather radar, there was an icon for thunder and lightning, which can only mean torrential rain. So I don't think it'll get red flagged because it's F123 virtual safety car. James in the barriers with no front wing there. We've just missed that. That's going to bring out the virtual, and he's going to have to pit for a new front wing. But let's just discuss this quickly. I think it's going to be full wets if the rain does come, because just by judging what I've seen from a screenshot, it could bring this race on its head, and who's going to be better on the soft tyres as Charlie pits under virtual safety car. It's gone full safety car. So that timing for Charlie is great, but Adamy stays out. Where has that full safety car come from? What's happened? Why have we had a full safety car? We've got people on the intermediate tyres already. It's only drizzling a tiny bit. I say that. I think it's going to start raining pretty quickly. Full wets, intermediates. Look at this. Who's got this right so far? Charlie's gone for the inters. Our top 5 have stayed out on the dry tires, but I think they're going to be pitting next lap, I'm going to presume. We've got 2 people running the full wets. Clearly anticipating extremely heavy rain, like I was talking about before, Mr. Bean and Nick on the full wets. And Nick, by the way, made a decent comeback from being about 30 seconds off the pack in lap 1, currently sitting in 13th. So not too bad as we're riding on board with his teammate Fresh. Well, we're looking at his teammate Fresh, who hasn't pitted yet and is on the soft tyres. So our top 5 surely seeing this rain are gonna look at boxing for Inters here. So Charlie managed to get some pretty good timing there with that virtual safety car and then the full safety car for to be able to box just in time and not have to wait for the next lap. And yeah, there we see a couple of people pitting. Who's not pitting there? It's a Red Bull and a Haas. Have they got weather effects on? Surely they can see the rain here. It doesn't seem to be getting incredibly heavy, but I think it is going to get heavier. Just an update. That's brought EXA Rowley back into 5th. As it's all about your feel right now for when it comes to strategy. What is the right call? And in my opinion, the right call is not staying on these soft or hard tires, as the rain is only going to get heavier. So we're just going to wait for Fresh down in 16th to catch the way up to Adamy, by the way, down in 15th. Was second place, but didn't pit on the first lap, and is now gone from 15th from second all the way down to 15th. And well, they had a chance at winning this race, but now they're down in 15th, so it's going to be a miracle for them to even be able to get into the points really here. It's all about how well they can drive in the wet. I have a feeling we'll see another 1 or 2 safety cars, as this current safety car is about to go in. And what is going to happen with these 2 drivers out front here? They're on dry tires. You can see the rain. So what's going to happen here? Charlie right behind them on Inters is probably going to make a fool of them like they have previously on safety car restarts. As we round the final corner, let's just look at this telemetry of Hey Tony. Huge wheel spin, but we're about to cross the line now, and we go green here at Spain, and it's not the traditional Spanish weather. It is raining. Main focus here is Charlie. How much more grip have they got than everyone else? Let's have a look as we ride on board. Oh, yep, that is the first instance of this is why you should wear wet tires on a wet track, as Hey Tony falling down the order. Just no grip on the hard tires. And Bushy in the Haas holding off so far. Pablo causing a yellow flag there. Oh, we're going to see another safety car. I just want to see some wet weather racing here. Alexis retires from the session. Come on, guys. Come on. When I said we're probably going to see another safety car, I didn't mean half a lap after the first one. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Charlie didn't manage to get ahead back into the lead under the first lap of the safety car, but I say that, and now they have, because Bushy pits for Inters. How's this rain coming along? It's getting there. It's not stopping. I want to kind of see if I can, just while we have a safety, because you know it's like the 3rd safety car of the race. Let's see if I can put this up a little bit. Oh, no, I don't want to do that because we might get DC'd. Never mind. Tech issues on the go. So, Charlie leads once again with Pool Diver bringing himself up in second, and EXA, Rowley, our league owner, despite having apparent hardware issues, comfortably sitting in third. So we've got one person on the full wet tyres. Mr. Bean. Full wets. How are those going for you, good sir? Because this rain doesn't look full wet territory. And if it does become full wet territory eventually, he will have burnt up these full wets before he can get a good use out of him. He has been saying in the Twitch chat, though, it's that this is part of his master plan. So, yeah. Oh, I say that. Is that a lot heavier rain, or is that just spray? I swear, I get jinxed every time I commentate. I say something, and then something else. I say, oh, well, this race is going to be over now, and then, nope. Something else crazy happens. So to try and beat the jinx, I'm going to say there will be 5 more safety cars this race. I'm praying for no more. Why is Hey Tony heading into the pits? Did they need a new front wing? What? They've just put on inters. Did they not do that last lap? Interesting. So once Hey Tony reaches the back of the pack in the Red Bull, we'll be able to get underway once again here in Spain. Spain doing its best British impersonation right now with the weather. So this track is getting very, very wet. So 4 laps ago was the beginning of the first safety car. And now on lap 18 of 33, hopefully we see the safety car coming at the end of this lap. Once again. There we go. Safety car is in this lap. So guys, if you can hear me here at EXA X3 Racing League, please don't send it into turn 1 and wipe out half the pack. I would like something to commentate other than safety car is going to be in this lap. Let's get ready to go once again here at Spain. Anyway, so Charlie leading. Safety car is coming in this lap and we're about to get ready to go racing underway here at Spain. Safety car has entered the pit lane. Charlie releases the taps before the final corner, and we saw Mr. Bean, who's on the wet tyres, have a big slide there. But Charlie seems to have got away well, and now it's all about who can drive the best in these tricky conditions, as Mr. Bean hasn't chosen the right tyre, it seems. Easily overtaken by James, who just has the better straight line speed, and they have a bit of rear lock in there. Kicks out the rear end. Good job to save it. But, I mean, look at this. They're getting driven around the outside by Adamy, who is currently on the hunt to get back that second place. And they've just got to have raw pace and great skill there, as that's the Alfa Romeo in the bottom of your screen's having a slide. It was Toby sliding out of turn 4. His teammate is chasing down EXA Rowley as they head up the hill, only 0.3 seconds between them. As now they would previously be doing that right-hander flat out, but definitely not in these conditions. Spartans looks to the inside, but it's not going to happen here on the wet. In the wet, it's all about who can get the best exit and who has the most grip. So here we go. Rowley falling behind just a little bit. You can see that gap is bigger from P2 to P3 than it is P3 to P4. Is now heading down the main straight. Pretty much all of the drivers here. Nick on the full wets. Mr. Bean on the full wets. Went from about 4th down to 13th. Not sure what happened there, but the full wets definitely not doing him any favours. Although it looks like the rain is getting a tad heavier. It's kind of hard to see on the, while spectating. But maybe those full wets are going to start to come into perfection very soon. So Spartan's currently holding off his teammate while chasing down our league owner, EXA Rowley. Look at Spartan's taking quite a few different lines to the traditional racing line here. Have they got a better exit? Are they going to make a move towards... Oh, Rowley turns in as they're side by side and Spartan's pulls off a little bit of a drift there to try save it. But it's lost in many positions and it looks like Spartan's was just going down the inside of Rowley and Rowley sort of, well, essentially turns in, unfortunately. Only by the littlest bit, though. It's a bit like in Suzuka this last week in F1, where Daniel Ricciardo and Alex Albon had their incident. A little bit like that. But here we're looking at James, currently under pressure from Adamy, who dropped all the way down to us pretty much last during this safety car, because he didn't manage to pit. Well, during the previous safety car, because he didn't manage to pit under at the optimal time, and is now going to have a look on James towards the inside. They go, gets ahead. James turns in just a little bit too much. Adam had to back out and has lost 3 positions in the process. It's quite unfortunate there for Adam. Had a little bit of contact with James and just couldn't keep himself close with them. But look at this. Look how much faster he is in this contact between Spartans and Adam, and they're going pretty much, well, double 2 wide here, round into Sector 2. Look at this. This is absolutely crazy, but somehow Adam hasn't managed to make up any positions. As we head up the hill, he's just got so much more grip. You can see how much he's holding off. He's actually using traction control, I think. Maybe that's why. Yep. Definitely got traction control on there, but it just makes it a lot easier to get a better exit. Because you can essentially just put the foot down and let the game do it for you. It takes a bit of a different line there, but what's going to be more optimal as they head round the final 2 corners, and our our P1 and 2 on our race leader very far ahead of the rest of the pack by 4 seconds. Pool Diver getting very close. Charlie moves towards the inside to try and defend. A little bit of moving under braking, but Pool Diver was nowhere near. And Charlie stays ahead for another few corners. There's no DRS, of course, because it is absolutely heaving it down. And you wouldn't want to activate your DRS because you'd have no grip on those rear tires. Let's have a look then. Adamy actually managed to make up a position there on Toby. And is now hunting down Spartans and soon Bushy and Rowley. But he's got a bit to go before he gets to Spartans, but let's have a look. So they head around what had previously been a flat right-hander onto the downhill, previously a DRS zone, but now just a straight because DRS, of course, disabled like I mentioned before. And our 2 full wet tires. Oh, what have I just witnessed there? A Haas flying and Toby into the barriers. I just caught that at maybe the right time. Dark Fade sliding. Toby into the barriers. And how many safety cars are we on now? I have no idea, but we're going to see some pit stops. We're going to see some pit stops here. Pool Diver and Charlie, who are way too far in the lead, didn't get the opportunity to pull a pit stop. As Nick gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under safety car. I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue as they are down in 14th here. So there you go. A lot of people pitting here. We've got more people on the full wets. As yeah, look at it. It's absolutely heaving it down. True British weather cosplay right now. And Mr. Bean saying how this wet tyre strategy was great, but he's had to pit again because those wets are just old now. So maybe it would have been better to go for the inters as Adam, he smashes up a brake marker, it looks like there. Yeah, look at the rain. This would be a red flag in real life, but of course there's no human danger at EXA. Everything, obviously, is a video game, if you couldn't tell. So we're going to be racing for another 10 laps, but this might possibly be the longest 10 laps in F123's history, as we can barely go 5 laps without a safety car. And Charlie is holding on to the lead still, but I feel as though they're going to lose it because they're probably going to be boxing for the inters, or maybe even the full wet here, along with Pulldiver, who's going to do the same. Let's have a look at where these two go. Is it the pit lane? No, it's not. They don't want to risk track position, probably knowing full well that there could be another safety car half a lap, 1 corner, 5 laps later. And they've had the pace to get ahead of the rest of the pack previously, so maybe they'll be able to keep up with all the tyres. And maybe they'll be able to stay ahead with all the tyres. Safety car has a while to go till it's in yet. We've got 3 cars who are about a sector and a half behind. And Nick does have to do a drive-through penalty. Wonder when he's going to do that. Mr. Bean pits for the inters. Decides to take those wets off straight away and put on inters for some reason. Clearly not happy with his quote-unquote master plan 2. So lap 24 of 33, safety car 24. Oh, it feels like it anyway. I think we're on about our 4th safety car. We've had 1 virtual which turned into a safety car. Oh, don't crash, Mr. Bean. Let's try to get going again. So Charlie is still in the lead. Started on pole. But I am slightly concerned for our top 2 and maybe even 3. Because they are on much older tyres here. In the wet, that can be rather detrimental. Just lose your grip. Front lock-in. Hello, barriers. Bye-bye front wing. Or bye-bye wheel. Bye-bye race win. Bye-bye points. Bye-bye championship. But that is the gamble they are willing to take for track position. We've still not got the safety car in this lap. But hopefully it's... Well, we haven't had the safety car in, but hopefully it's going to be in this lap. 4 DNFs, by the way, in this race. Let's run you through them. Toby, Alexis, Daniel, and Pablo. Pablo disqualified for... I don't know. Was it driving the wrong way or something? Surely not. Daniel DNF'd. Stayed out on dry tyres in the wet. Not the wisest thing to do. And Toby and Alexis crashed while it was raining. It looks to be heaving down. I wonder if we're going to see some wet tyres, some full wets coming towards the end of this race. Currently the drivers are here in Spain. But we're about to see Spain without the A very soon, as people are going to start spinning. I've got about 1 straight to do some promotion. If you are new here, make sure to do !League, join the Discord, sign up we have races 5 days a week for 5 different divisions. So please do make sure you can race, set some timed laps, find out what division you're going to be in, and get racing here. Just like we're about to get racing in the wet, in the Spain, in the pain of watching the safety car go in for the 4th time here in Spain. Charlie got a lot of work to do here for another 8 or so laps. But we go green again as everyone fighting down the main straight. Pull Diver looks like he has a lot of work to do as Bushy on the slightly faster tires, but with the ERS gets ahead into turn 1. It's going to be a disaster. There's contact. They run into the rear of Charlie, and EXA Rowley snatches all of this. Through goes Rowley into the lead of the race. Where did he come from? It was chaos between Pull Diver and Bushy. Pull Diver outbraked himself into the rear of Charlie. Pull Diver's fallen down into 6th. Charlie falling down into 4th. Losing positions. Many positions being lost as James on the full wets taking advantage here, but Rowley somehow is in the lead here tonight at X3 in the absolute pouring rain. This is a point where you'd really wish they had umbrellas here at Formula 1, but Adamy keen to get back his 2nd place or maybe even a win here, which he was on course to do, has the full wet tires on. Are they paying off? He can brake way later, it looks like. Bit of contact as, well, just Charlie is fully forcing him off the track here. I'm not too sure about that one. Just driving straight into him. Another yellow flag. Please don't be a safety car. Please. Okay, it doesn't look like there's too much damage. Let's rejoin with our top 3. James, only 0.5 seconds away from Spartans, who is 1.4 seconds away from Rowley. Rowley has just not got a crash, and he should be okay. James launching an attack here on the full wets. The full wets seem to be faster. Would you look at him go right into 2nd here on lap 27 of Spain. So the full wets for the 2 drivers who are on them. It's clearly paying off. Adamy probably going to have quite a bit more pace. Charlie saying in the X3 Discord that they are absolutely not happy with Pull Diver, who rear-ended them into turn 1. So there's going to be a lot of EXA FIA steward verdicts as Adamy has the traction to overtake Spartans, and it's now AlphaTauri 2-3 as somehow James has made it into the lead. The full wet tires absolutely doing great. Fresh yellow flag calls with Crazy as well. Crazy is beached. They're going to have to click the retire button there because they are absolutely beached, and thankfully they are see-through. So it's full wet in the 1-2. Adamy and James read that perfectly right. There you go, the disqualification from Crazy. So Adam and James read this perfectly right with the full wet tires. You can see people starting to put on the full wets. We've got 1, 2, 3 people pitting, including Charlie, who was previously the race leader, fallen down into 10th, and they haven't got many laps to get this done. 6 laps remaining as James starts lap 28 of 33. And this is getting awfully crazy. I was saying about how it's all about the strategy. Who can get it right here in the rain? And who's got traction control? And that's another one. Adamy currently using traction control. Let's see if James in the lead is using traction control. Nope. You can see him slide there as he puts the power down a little bit too hard, but he's got 2.7 seconds between himself and Adamy. James's teammate Pablo leaves the session. I thought that was retired, but he was the first to be disqualified. Okay, let's have a look. We've still got some people on the intermediate tires. We've got 12 people left, 5 of them on the wets, 7 of them on the inters. Pull Diver probably should be pitting sometime soon. He's on 14-lap-old inters, and I'd be thinking if I was him, just got to whack on the full wets. maybe waiting for another safety car, but the pack is very, very spread out at the moment that we might not get one for a while. I say that, and EXA Rowley overtakes Spartans. They're fighting for P3 and 4. This could be a disaster for a safety car here, as they are one of the two closest drivers on the track, as well as the two Hasses down in 7th and 8th. And Rowley, as he just crawls round the final corner. Absolutely atrocious conditions here. Somehow these two are still making it stick with the Inters. And I'm just looking for any just immediate front locking, but maybe people have ABS on. The Spartans is going to try to find some grip here to get a better run out of turn 3. But they can't even put full throttle down until the very end of the corner. Ooh, bit of rear locking there. A little bit of a slide towards the inside from Spartans. And Rowley just about holding off. And you can see the gap between P2 and P3. It's 13 seconds between the two AlphaTauri teammates. And that is the difference between the full wet tyre. Rowley not really in the position to put on the full wets. We've got 4 laps to go. And let's have a look. He's got about... I mean, there could be an opportunity where he could put on the full wets, but then it's just about getting past people with 4 laps now. We're on lap 30 of 33. Rowley being extremely cautious, and his teammate Adamy is not... Well, he's quite a while behind James, 4.2 seconds. So James has to complete a few more laps here, and then he will take his win here at EXA X3, coping incredibly through all of the conditions, the light rain, the absolutely torrential rain, the million safety cars, and also the dry that we started this race on. Can you believe it? We started this race and it was sunny, and I was saying, I don't think there'll be rain. But boy, was I wrong, and they really wanted to prove it to me. As, let's see if we can find any closer battles other than Spartans chasing down Rowley. We've got Dark Fade going round the outside. Maybe a bit too much on the outside as he heads onto the grass, trying to get around Mr. Bean. And that's not worked too well. Hey, Tony, though, trying to go round the outside of Fresh. Almost gets the move done. There's a little bit of contact between them, but those full wet tyres clearly proving to be superior as he just drives round the outside. And up into the points of 10th place. Only 12 people running today. Well, in the rest of this race. The 2 Ferraris making up the rear of the pack. As we see, excuse me, Bushy gets ahead on those full wet tyres of Spartans. Yellow flag there. That is someone. Dark Fade spinning off in the 3rd sector. I don't want a safety car. We've only got a few laps left. And I want some great racing till the end. As Bushy is hunting down Rowley, who is currently defending the final spot of the podium, but is on incredibly slower tyres. Let's just look at this gap. It was 0.7, 0.6, 0.5, 0.46, 0.3 as Bushy goes a little bit wide. And Charlie is also hot on their tails, by the way. May I remind you, previous race leader and pole sitter for this race looked like they had it in the bag until they got rear-ended by Pool Diver, who is, where is Pool Diver? Currently in 7th. So our previous 1-2 during the dry and most of the wet has fallen all the way down the order and has given us a completely new top 3 consisting of 2 AlphaTauris. But closely behind is Bushy, and he's got 1 lap. No, he's not. He's got 2 laps to get this done. to get past Rowley. As Rowley, ooh, was that a slide there? Doesn't matter anyway. Bushy gets ahead with ease. Look at those wet tires go. But Rowley, is he going to stick down the inside? No, he's not going to have the grip on the inters, and I think he knows that. Now he's under pressure from Charlie, who is on a mission to prove to everyone, while they have been unlucky with numerous safety cars like in Suzuka and today, they absolutely have the pace to win. They've been on pole multiple times. They'd be my best bet for the championship. But some unfortunate events and maybe a little bit of inconsistency. Although not today. Today was purely unfortunate of getting hit by Pool Diver. They could be winning a lot of races this season. So, Rowley, who decided not to pit for the Inters, felt a lot of pressure from the people behind him on the full wets and has now dropped from the podium into 5th. So now it's all about this final podium spot here. As James and Adamy have started the final lap, by the way, just to let you know. And Bushy and Charlie are about to start the final lap as they round the second to last corner. And now the final corner. Charlie has 0.4 seconds to close in around about 3 miles of circuit. And they're not going to be able to get it done into this main straight, into turn 1, and that's going to be very tough because that's really the only main overtaking place on this track. But in the wet, anywhere is an overtaking place. Like turn 3, they get very close. They just don't have the ERS to get the power down, and Bushy has way more ERS to be able to just defend and just get that extra straight line speed as he has a little bit of a wiggle here. Charlie using all of the traction control that's available with the game, basically just fully planting their foot down. Look at that. And here we go then. James, rounding the final 2 corners, was down in last at one point in this race, I believe, after smashing it into the wall, but comes home to win the Spanish Grand Prix in the wet, in the dry, under safety cars. James got it right today. Brilliant comeback. Brilliant drive. Charlie, the race isn't over yet because Charlie has just gotten ahead of Bushy, by the way, just about within the final few corners. Bushy goes wide. Charlie rounds the final corner, and it looks like it's going to be Charlie taking 3rd place here at Spain. Adamy in 2nd. Bushy in 4th. Spartans in 5th. Rowley close behind in 6th. Pool Diver 7th. Tony 8th. Fresh 9th. Well, we actually can't tell yet. The race isn't over. Pool Diver comes home in 7th. Hey, Tony. Not far behind. Crosses the line in 8th. And then it's Fresh crossing the line now. Dark Fade and Mr. Bean still battling it out for that final point position as they head round the final corner. Dark Fade gets ahead just about. Who's going to be ahead across the line? It was Dark Fade. Mr. Bean in 11th. And then Nick comes to cross the line in the last of the finishers. What a race. Amazing drive from James to go from having no front wing to having the winner's trophy. So congratulations to Mercedes for coming first with Adamy and Charlie. Close behind in 2nd and 3rd. So, Charlie also got the fastest lap of the race, by the way, so that's going to be an extra 2 points for them. 1 point for fastest lap and 1 point for getting pole position in qualifying. Incidents, it's going to be full of everything. Who did the most pit stops? Can we see? Who did the most pit stops? Why is it not showing me all of them? There we go. Stops. Who did the most? Nick did 7 pit stops. 7 pit stops. Didn't even use all of the tyres that were available to him. Went medium, wet into wet. Anyway, that's not important. What is important that James has won a race here at EXA, so congratulations to him. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Congratulations to our top 3. Charlie, Adamy, and James. I shall see you all tomorrow at 4x1, and I promise I will not be late. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I will see you tomorrow for a very exciting race. I believe it's Japan. Anyhow, goodbye.